Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is your daily horoscope for 7th October 2021, which is a Thursday. But before we begin, I would request you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. And I do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, and monthly sun rising sign video horoscopes. And you can watch all those on my YouTube channel. And the monthly horoscopes for the month of October for your sun and rising sign are on my YouTube channel now, and you can watch those if you are interested. So let's talk about the astrology today. Now, the first thing that I want to mention before we begin is that yesterday was a new moon in the sign of Libra, and very quick, that new moon was a very intense new moon because it was conjunct Mars and it was conjuncting Uranus, which meant a lot of intensity, a lot of energy. And since Mercury is retrograde, it was a new moon that brought back something from the past in a new way. And if you want more details on that video, if you want more details on the new moon, you can watch that video. But it was brought to my notice that the audio in that video is not the best. And somehow I didn't realize it while uploading it, but now when I listen to it, there is some issue. I don't know what the issue is, but there is something, and it's too late for me to fix that, so sorry about that. I have changed my microphone today, so hopefully this video will come out right. And I think this is Mercury retrograde at play because gadgets do malfunction, and I think that's what happened. So sorry about that, and I have changed my microphone today, so let's hope for the best. All right, now that was the first thing that I wanted to mention, that we had a new moon in Libra yesterday. And another thing that happened yesterday, which is important, is that Pluto went direct yesterday. Now, Pluto has been retrograde since the end of April, and now it is direct again. And this means that the forward movement, the work connected to Pluto, will pick up pace again. Retrogrades are a period of review. The past comes back during retrogrades, and the pace at which things move slows down. So now Pluto is direct, and that work connected to Pluto, which is connected to our psychology, our fears, transforming ourselves, and a lot of release. Pluto is the planet of catharsis, so it helps us release a lot of emotions. It may not always feel easy, but that's what Pluto does. It cleanses. It's a catharsis. So that work kind of slowed down, and now it's going to pick up again. The process of transformation, the process of working on our fears, on our control issues, on our obsessions, on cleansing or releasing emotions. That's the work connected to Pluto, and of course, wherever Pluto lies in your chart right now. So those are two important things I wanted to touch upon because they are important events, and we will be in the new moon in Libra energy for the next 10 days, 2 weeks. So it's important to know what that energy is. And the next thing I want to mention is something that happens today, and that's Venus has changed signs. Now this is almost 5-6 a.m. Pacific time, and if you are elsewhere in the world, you can always convert the Pacific time to your time zone to know when the energy is going to happen for you. And Venus has changed signs now, and Venus is the planet that rules our relationships, our projects, our finances. It also rules our self-worth and how we feel about ourselves. And when Venus changes signs, the way we approach these things goes through a subtle shift, right? And Venus was in Scorpio up until now. Now it's entered the sign of Sagittarius. Now Venus typically does not like to be in Scorpio because Scorpio is a very intense energy. It's about finding the truth. It's about digging really deep, it's about being very intense as well. It's a very intense energy, the sign of Scorpio. So Venus does not really feel comfortable there, which means it doesn't work very well there. But now in Sagittarius, it's different. Sagittarius is a very different energy than Scorpio. Scorpio is intense and wanting to know the truth and digging very deep and very intense. And Sagittarius is more fun-loving, it's more optimistic, it's hopeful, it's excited. So that's Sagittarius. So that's how we are going to be approaching Venus things. There will be a shift from a very intense all or nothing, I want to transform this thing, I want to give it everything I've got when it comes to our relationship, projects, self-worth, values, skills, finances, to a more, okay, let's see how this goes. Let's go on an adventure when it comes to relationships or projects or self-worth or values or skills. Okay, I feel good about this. Let's see where this goes. Let's try it out. I have an optimistic feeling. I have an optimistic outlook about these things, whether it's a relationship or a project, something connected to self-worth or values or skills or finances. So Venus in Sagittarius is a different energy. It's a lighter energy. So that's the first thing we will see today, another shift, because since yesterday we've been going through a lot of shifts. The new moon in Libra was a shift from releasing, the energy of releasing and letting go and closing out the past. The full moon in Pisces energy, yesterday we went through a shift into a, okay, something from the past is coming back and I need to do it in a new way, or something from the past is coming back in a new way. And it was also the day Pluto went direct, so another shift, the forward movement beginning again. Of course, slowly right now, but it's a step in the forward movement beginning again. And now Venus has changed signs, so a lot of energy shifting. And soon after this, at about 8 a.m. Pacific time, the moon changes signs. Now the moon changes signs every 2.5 days or so, and when it changes signs, the energy in our life, the focus in our life shifts in subtle ways. Now the moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is an energy, like I said, that likes to dig deep. It's very intense, and the moon also does not like to be in Scorpio. Moon would rather be in the opposite sign of Scorpio, in Taurus, where it is exalted. And that's because Taurus is an energy that enjoys good food, enjoys to be in nature, and the moon is our emotions, right? We feel good when we do those things. When we eat some good food, we feel good emotionally. When we are with nature, we feel good emotionally. When things are secure and stable, we feel good emotionally. But we don't feel good emotionally when we uncover harsh truths. We don't feel good emotionally when we are asked to transform and release and let go of things. And that's the moon in Scorpio. So it's not a negative placement, it's just a difficult placement, right? Because our emotions don't like to do that sort of thing, right? But that being said, it is important to do those things. It is important to find the root cause of things. It's important to transform. It's important to release emotions. So that's what we are going to be doing when the moon is in the sign of Scorpio for the next 2.5 days. And moving on, we do have another stressful event, and that happens at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And what's happening here is that the moon is squaring Saturn. Yeah, this is like 6 p.m. Pacific time. The moon in Scorpio is squaring Saturn. Now, Saturn is the planet of hard work, of decisions, of commitment, of working, right? Working at a slow pace. And the moon is our emotions, and a 90-degree angle is being formed, a square, which requires us to change things, which requires us to adjust things, which requires us to grow. So this is a moment here where we might be asked to commit to something, take a decision, define something, work really hard, and all this is connected to our emotions, because Scorpio is a very emotional sign. It's water sign, right? So that's an emotional sign. So this energy might feel stressful, but through a square, a 90-degree angle, we grow, we evolve. So after this energy, after feeling a little stressed out, after feeling like, okay, I have to decide something, I have to define something, I have to work hard on my emotions. It could be an emotional pattern that you have to work on, you know? It could be something as simple as that. Maybe every time the moon makes an aspect with Saturn, some emotions come up, some emotional pattern repeats itself. And the goal is to maybe work on it. I've noticed this in myself. Whenever the moon makes an aspect with Saturn, the same emotional pattern comes back up for me. And now I'm starting to pick up on it. So maybe it's something like that for you as well. And it does feel stressful. It does. But now that I know this is what happens to me, I can kind of work on it. So I just thought I'd mention that. And that's pretty much it for today. But I do want to mention a few things. The first is that the Sun and Mars are in a close conjunction. The conjunction is not exact. It will be, but it's not exact right now. But we are feeling the intensity. And I spoke about this in the new moon video. The Sun's conjunction with Mars can give us a lot of energy, a lot of drive, a lot of courage to make things happen, to get things done, because Mars is the planet of action and energy and getting things done. So we must channel that energy in a positive way, because if we don't channel that energy in a positive way, there is a tendency to get angry and frustrated, because Mars is anger and frustration as well. So just be mindful of that. And this energy is magnified because Uranus is quincunxing this. Uranus is the planet of sudden, unexpected changes. So this frustration, this anger, or this courage and drive to make things happen can come out of nowhere, suddenly and unexpectedly. So that is still happening, that is still in the background. So just be mindful of that. And another thing I want to mention is that Venus is getting ready to conjunct the South Node. It's a 2-degree orb, and we spoke about this yesterday as well. Venus conjunct the South Node can bring up the past when it comes to relationships, projects, self-worth, values, skills, finances. So just be mindful of that as well. And the next thing I do want to mention real quick is that Mercury is still retrograde. And I mention it in every video, because if you're watching me for the first time, then you should know that Mercury is retrograde. It went retrograde on September 27th and will be retrograde till October 18th. And Mercury retrogrades are not the best time to start something absolutely new. Communication can slow down, gadgets can malfunction, so just be mindful of that. Alternatively, if you are born with Mercury retrograde, it is a good time to get some clarity in thought, because you're used to the retrograde energy, so your logical mind will function better during this period. So that's Mercury retrograde. And another thing about Mercury retrograde is that when it went retrograde, it squared Pluto, which meant that it was very intense around September 27th and last week, because a square to Pluto demands transformation, change, catharsis, healing to all Mercury things: our mind, our thinking, our communication, diet, lifestyle, health, routine, job. And it felt intense last week when this happened. But now Mercury is moving backwards and the square is easing off, so that intensity is low right now. And the last thing that I want to mention is that Saturn here is getting ready to go direct on October 10th. So we are building up to that as well. Saturn will be the second planet in the month of October to go direct after Pluto, and then on October 18th, Jupiter will go direct, and on the same day Mercury will go direct as well. And since April, a lot of the planets started to go retrograde, starting with Pluto. And as we entered the month of October, Pluto was retrograde, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, and Mercury. So a lot of retrogrades, and that meant that as we entered October, the pace at which things were happening really slowed down, right? Because retrogrades are a review. It slows down the forward movement in a way. And since April, that's what's been happening. But with so many planets coming direct in October, the pace at which things has been moving will start to pick up again. And now, very quick, I will mention two themes of 2021 that we deal with every day, that we are working on every day. The first of those is the Uranus-Saturn square of 2021. These planets are squaring after 21 years. And this energy is asking us to change. It's asking us to embrace the new and embrace our true authentic self. And since these planets are squaring, the process to get there might feel challenging, and this energy will be with us all year and even next year. But right now it's not at its peak. It was at its peak in the month of June and will be in the month of December. That's the first thing about 2021. It's a year of change. It's a year of getting rid of the old that doesn't serve us, and it's a year of finding and embracing our true authentic self. And then the second thing about 2021 is that it is a year that we are laying the foundation for 2 long-term astrological cycles that started in 2020. The first, Pluto-Saturn conjunction of Jan of 2020. These planets meet up once in 33 to 38 years, and when they meet up, they begin a new cycle. And that's what happened in Jan of 2020. They met up, and a cycle that started in 1982 closed out and a new one began. And this cycle will be with us till 2053, and we are laying the foundation for this in 2021. The second cycle is the Saturn-Jupiter cycle of 20 years. These planets meet once in 20 years, and when they meet up, they begin a new cycle. And this cycle will be with us till 2040, and we are building this in 2021 as well. So 2021, to sum it up, is a year of building, is a year of change, is a year of embracing our true authentic self. So that's the big picture of 2021, and now I will pick a card for today and then we'll close it out. Okay, something says happy, happy. And this card to me always says Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a Jupiter-ruled energy, and it is a very optimistic, fun-loving, joyous sort of energy. And Venus has entered Sagittarius today, right? Venus is our relationships, it's our projects, it's how we feel about ourselves. So maybe that's the energy he will bring, this a happy energy, an optimistic energy, a joyous energy to our relationships, projects, self-worth, values, and skills. So I think that's what this card means. Let's pick another one. Okay, something flipped. No place like home. And we've got this card a few times, and I think this card is always reminding us to find our comfort. And to me, this says we can only be comfortable when we are our true self. We cannot be comfortable when we wear a mask, when we pretend to be something that we're not, or someone that we're not. So more than a physical home, I think this card is more about finding our comfort in who we are, finding our comfort in our own skin. Okay, another one. Building blocks. And I think we've got this card after a pretty long time. In between, this card would fall out very often, and this card is reminding us that we are building. 2021 is a year of building, right? And this is a reminder. Pick one more card. Okay, let's go with the top. This card's really difficult. It says transformation, and I think this card says it all, right? Because Mercury retrograde square Pluto. Pluto is the planet of catharsis, transformation, endings, beginnings, healing. The moon is going to be in Scorpio, the sign ruled by Pluto. So a lot of transformation is going on, and this could very well be a transformation to what happened with the new moon in Libra, something new, something old coming back into our life so that we can transform it, right? And do it in a different way, or something from the past coming back into our life in a different way. But there is a transformation. There is, with the moon in Scorpio, Venus just finished up in Scorpio. There is a theme of transformation going, especially with Mercury retrograde squaring Pluto. Let's do one more. Okay. Let's do that again. Let's go at the top. Regret. I know that I cannot change the past. And I think today's message is to say that it's better to fail than have regrets. So I think that's a powerful thing to consider, because if we think about, if we compare failure and regret, to me, regret is always worse than failure. And I bring this up because we often regret things we don't do because of the fear of failure, right? But if we compare regret and failure, regret is always more painful. With failure, at least you can say, I tried it, it didn't work out, fine. But with regret, you always say, I wish I had tried that. I wish I had done that. I wish I had had the courage to do these things. I wish I didn't let the past hold me back, because we cannot change the past. So personally for me, whenever I feel scared about doing something, I think how I will feel maybe 10, 20, 30 years later if I don't do that thing, right? It's always better, in my case, to say that I failed than to say that, oh, I wish I had tried. So I think that's a good card to close out the reading with, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow.